Hello everybody, welcome to this wonderful reading that I'm going to do for May 5th to May 10th of 2025. It's going to be for a reading that's going to be happening in this monetary result, basically how it's going to be, how it is and how it is, and this is the way it kind of occurs in one or another, so we have to understand about what's going on in this whole entire theoretical of this whole entire situation. Whether it's gonna be very interesting, or it's gonna be how it's gonna be, the way how it's focuses, how it's gonna be in that way, because we have to understand about how we can understand that in one way or another, right? So we have to believe about what's going on in this circumstance, and we have to understand about how we can have our own give and take situation, whether we know what's going on, whether how we can understand it, how we're going to define it, whatever it is, because we have to understand about how we can do it in one or another, and we have to understand that because the way how this is going to be, we have to understand about how it is, right? We have to understand about what's going on in this situation. That's why it's going to be right. So in this wonderful reading that I'm going to do, this is the way it seems to be that. And when things are going to be into perspective, this is the way it kind of goes, and it's the way how it kind of ship shapes different ways. But the way of how this is going to be very interesting indeed, of how it's going to be in that way, right? This is the way it seems to be that. And this is how it's going to be in that way, right? We have to believe about what's going on in our own circumstances, our own ways of how we're feeling, and the way of how we can do what we can to do what it takes beyond about that situation, beyond about what's going on in that way and how it's going to be. So we have to believe about how we can do it in one way or another. We have to do what we can do, and just the way it kind of is in this moment. We have to understand about how it seems to be in this wonderful reading that I'm going to provide you. But the way of how this is the way it seems to be. So here we go. So in this wonderful reading that I'm going to provide you, is basically if the King of Pentacles up right there, it's basically there might be money in this situation. No one stuff right there is fear in this situation. The Strength card represents Leo. That's the way it goes. The Emperor reverse, you have no structure. 5 wands reverse, there's no chaos. 3 Pentacles reverse, there's no excitement, and the Empress reverse, there's no nourishment. There's nothing about that. But the way of how this is, the way of how I'm going to promote about this situation, we have to understand about how we can do it correctly, because that's the way it seems to be, right? We have to understand we need to understand of how we're going to do this in the way of how this is, the way of how this is going to represent. But the way of how this is, whether you're dealing with an Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, as in fire signs, or the Strength card represents Leo as a fire sign as well, we have to understand about how it's going to be in that way, because we have to do what we can to improve ourselves wisely to understand about how it seems to be, right? We have to do what we need to be told to do, but whether we like that, if we like it or not, that's the way it seems to be. So that's how the game plan goes, you know what I mean, right? But that's how it kind of is. So let me try to tell you what's going on for this whole entire reading. We went from the 9 wands all the way to the Empress, and then working our way through. So let's see. So they want 8 cups is upright, followed by the 3 of swords reversed, followed by the 4 of Pentacles reversed, followed by the Emperor's upright. So basically you have structure, you have the 8 cups represents basically entertainment, that's the way it kind of goes in that way. So you could be dealing with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio as water signs, as zodiac signs. You have the Emperor represents structure, like you have structure, you have the way how it seems to be, right? This is the way it kind of is in one way or another. So you're trying to not have a menopause or the way of how this is, but the way of how you can understand about how it's going to be in that way, right? That's the way it seems to be in that way. What's happening between the Emperor down here all the way to the 3 of Pentacles? So 10 Pentacles is upright, followed by the 9 Pentacles is upright, followed by the 5 Pentacles reversed, followed by the Knight of Wands is upright, followed by the Queen of Cups is upright. Yeah, because there's empathy, because you're seeing two sides of the story here. The Knight of Wands represents immaturity, that's the way it goes. The 9 of Pentacles is upright because there is comfort, that you're being comfortable. And the 10 Cups Ten of Pentacles represents money, right? Of having wealth, because that's the way it goes in your own well-being. That's how it seems to be. But then that's the way it goes. If you're acting like you're being immature, I know how it is, but you know what it means. I'm trying to how you can do it in one or another, but you have to be who you are to understand that in the way of how this is, right? It's the way it seems to be in one way or another. And when you do that, you need to understand about how you can do what it takes beyond about that point. You know, that's the way it goes, right? Because there's a good saying, and seeing is believing, believing is seeing. That's all you can do. But then you have to have your own faith, your own abilities from the right and wrong perspective. That's why it seems to be that. So what's happening between the Strength card all the way to the Five of Wands here? So let me clarify. So the Three of Wands is upright, followed by the Chariot is upright, followed by the Eight of Swords reversed, followed by the Queen of Wands is upright, followed by the Five of Cups is upright. Yeah, so it does represent grief. Because you're grieving about something. Eight of Swords reversed, there's no anxiety. The Chariot is upright, there's progress. Queen of Wands is upright, there's charisma. And the Three of Wands is upright, there's communication, right? So you're going to communicate. When you have the communicate, you're going to communicate, and it's the way it goes, right? You have the ability where you're going to have a communication. You know what it seems to be. You have that, great sense of humor, whatever it is. But you know what I mean. You have to understand about how you can do it in one or another. You have to, face your own abilities from the right and wrong perspective, right? That's how you can see sense. But the way of how this is, you have to know that this is a way of how it's going to be in that way. You have to know what it takes beyond about this whole entire situation, whether you like it or not. But then you're trying to play the rules. You're trying to play, who gets what, or whatever it is, right? That's why it seems to be that. And when things have to be a strongly situation, you know what it is, right? You have to do what you're told to do because you have to be responsible. Be about how you can do it, how you can understand that. You're going to role play, whatever it is, right? That's why it seems to be, because you have to understand that what it takes. So let me try to go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. So the Knight of Cups reversed, the Fool reversed, followed by the Four of Pentacles reversed, followed by the Eight of Cups reversed, followed by the Justice reversed, followed by the Tower reversed, followed by the Two of Wands reversed, followed by the Ace of Pentacles reversed. Wow. But then the Six of Pentacles upright represents like kindness. That's the way it goes. When you have no romance, when you have, the way how this is, it's like, why? Why are you having this? Why you're not feeling this right? Because when you have kindness, you know what it takes. But then it's like, well, why don't have all this romance, or why I'm feeling like this, or, what have you. But the way how this is almost like reoccurrence, like a current, that's the way it goes, right? You have to represent about how you're feeling in one way or another, That's why it seems to be, right? This is like how you can do it in one way or another, right? That's how it seems to be. What's in the middle to the right side, please? The Five of Cups is upright, followed by the Nine of Pentacles reversed, followed by the Seven of Pentacles is upright. So it does represent your career, but you're having basically grief, and then the Nine of Pentacles reversed, there's no comfort. Like you're feeling uncomfortable. So the way how this is, the way how you can spread out and do whatever you want, that's how it kind of imposes this situation, whether you like it or not. But then you have to have the way of how this is, the way how you can see it in a different moderation of how you can do it, right? You have to know what it takes, whether you're going to monetize your own situations, whether you like it or not, whether you think that everything will be fine, or you're being graceful, or whatever it is. You do what it takes beyond that point, right? And when you like it or not, you know what it is, but then you have to go exactly what you're told to do. Be responsible how you're feeling. Be how you can be kind, or when you're looking for a career, whatever it is. You know what it is. You're drawing that point. You're basically, how you can understand about connect the dots, right? Because you're trying to reveal the whole entire picture. That's why it seems to be that, right? That's how it seems to be that. And when you look at this, you think, okay, well, everything seems to be fine. But then it's like, well, not necessarily, That's why it seems to be this, because that's the way it kind of occurs. So let's see what's going on from the middle to left, middle to the right. So let's see what's going on. So lovers is upright, followed by the empress is upright, followed by the strength card reverse. You have the justice is upright, followed by the wheel of fortune reverse. Yeah, it means that you're having bad luck. Justice is upright because you're going to be telling the truth. The empress is upright, you're having nourishment. The lovers is upright where you're going to have decisions that you're going to make. And the strength card reverse, you have no strength. You don't know why I'm feeling like this, because it's like, why are you feeling like it in one way or another? That's why it seems to be that. And when things could be a different way, a different outcome, whatever it is, you know what it is, right? That's how it seems to be. So what's happening between the middle and the right side, please? The Fool reversed, followed by the Empress upright, followed by the Sun reversed. Yeah, because you're in negativity, right? When you're in negativity, it's like, why are you feeling like this? Why you're in negativity spot? Because things are not going as planned, and when things are, right? But when you're not listening, or when you're not paying attention, or whatever it is, you need to know how you can do it in one way or another. You have to have divine timing, or there is lots of ways of how you can do it. But then the way of how this is, the way of how things are, you know what it takes. You know how it is, right? You know how it kind of conjunts, or conjunctions, whatever it is. But you know what I mean, right? You have to know exactly how you're going to do it in one or another. That's the way it seems to be. So that's the way how it is. So I'm going to go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. So the Sun card is upright, followed by the Star is upright, followed by the Magician reverse, followed by the Hermit reverse, followed by the Tower is upright. Yeah, because there's transformation, right? Everything's going to change, bit by bit, day by day, week by week, month by month, and year by year. Everything changes, right? When you look at it, it's like, okay, well, I know what to do, I got this. But when you stay positive, you have positivity. That's the way it seems to be. If you're looking at the negativity, you're drawn to that negativity, right? So you can see this as a back and forth situation, right? That's why it kind of occurs in that way, right? You go with the flow, right? That's the way it seems to be. Let's going from the middle to the right side, please. Those reverse, followed the Jester reverse, followed with the Fool is upright. Yeah, because you're going to change in one or another, but then when you have the Jester reverse, you're not telling the truth, right? Because you're lying about something. I don't know why that you're lying about something, but you know what it takes. You know how you can understand of how it goes in one or another. You need to understand that, right? Because when you have your own dignities of knowing what to do, right? You have to understand about how you can believe it in order to understand that. So let's see what the universe is saying here. The Ten of Swords here is, yeah, it means that you have no conclusions, because you already have conclusions, right? Because you know what it takes, you know how you can understand that, because you're thinking, okay, well, I know what to do, I got this, but then this is the way it seems to be, right? So let me go from the middle to the left, middle to the right. So the Six of Swords reverse, there's no movement. Queen of Cups over, there's empathy. Three of Swords over, there's heartbreak. The Five of Pentacles reverse, there's no insecurity. The Queen of Swords reverse, there's no independence. But Seven of Cups over, there's a delusion. Yeah, so you might be having a deja vu moment, right? That's why it seems to be. When you have a deja vu moment, when things are not going your way, it's like, why? Why? Because when you have the word empathy, you're seeing two sides of the story here. One makes sense, one doesn't make sense. That's the way it goes. The Three of Swords is already, there's heartbreak, right? Because you're feeling sad, whimpering. You're saying, woe is me, I don't know what to do. But that's how it's going to be, right? You're trying to understand about what it takes beyond about that point. Beyond about, there are 5 W's: who, what, where, when, why, in that situation. That's the way it seems to be in that way. What's between the middle and the right side, please? Between Wands reverse, there's no charisma. Eight of Swords over, there's anxiety. Alright, and the Page of Cups, alright, there's loyalty. Yeah, because the way how this is, the way how I can sense this, it's the way of knowing what to do next in that way, right? You're thinking, okay, well, this is the way it seems to be. I know what to do, I got this, but that's how it seems to be, right? That's the way it seems to be in that way, because that's how you can do it, right? How you can understand that. What's in the middle of this whole entire reading? The three of cups here, there's no celebration, and the five cups celebrate, there's grief. Yeah, because you're, like I say, you're grieving about something, you're whimpering, you don't know what it takes, because that's the way it seems to be, right? It's unnecessary to understand about how you can understand and believe about what's going on, right? That's what it is. Because when you look at this, you think, okay, well, I know what to do, I got this, but then it's like, does it make sense? You know? Am I going the right way? Am I not going the wrong way? It doesn't matter, right? But when you have that give and take situation, whether feeling sad or whatever, it's like you're trying to go with the flow of all your emotions, That's why it seems to be that. Because if you're thinking about the positive or the negative, or things are not going as planned, it's like, why? Why I can't do this anymore, That's why it seems to be that, right? That's the way it kind of goes. Because that's what the universe is trying to say to me and to all of you, because you need to understand what it takes. Because if you're feeling that you're going to have grief, if you're if you're having heartbreak, if you're having anxiety, if you're having delusion, it's like things are not going as planned. It's like, why are you focusing on negativity rather than staying positive? So that's what this whole entire reading is going to go for. That's the way it kind of is in that moment. So it's like you have to understand about how you can believe in order to do that. And that's the way it seems to be in that way, right? So the way how this is, the way how you can understand about this whole entire purpose, that's why it seems to be, right? So let me try to read you the Enchanted Mapp, because I want to read this. So let's see what's going on in this entire reading here. Let's see. Tell me something what's going on in this whole entire reading, please. Alright, so here we go. Number 3, reversed, Wizard of Awareness. So this is gonna be reversed, by the way. So let's see. Let's see what's going on. So this is gonna be reversed. Yeah, this is very interesting indeed. So here we go, right? Okay. It says reverse. The Wizard of Awareness comes to you in this position to warn you that too much force behind a desire for a specific outcome robs you of a true and full experience. Step back, take your energy away from your situation and focus on gratitude for the ever-changing conditions of life. Are you perhaps trying to control the outcome of something because you don't trust in your highest good? Meditate, be still, and your answer will come without any effort on your part. Be a neutral observer, and you will see how this moment is but a small marker on the map of your life's journey. So that's how it seems to be, right? So you need to understand about, you need to meditate, you need to believe about what's going on that way, you need to understand about how you can make progress. But the way of how this is, that's the way it seems to be. This is the way it kind of goes. This is the way of how it is. So when you like it or not, this is the way it seems to be, and I hope you all like this video. Please give it a like, please give it a comment if you want, but this is the way it seems to be. And you have to understand that, and that's how the way it goes. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye for now. Really, thank you, and bye.